Hello ladies and gentlemen, and good evening to the first round of the Crs 3Drap Ginetta Gt4 CUP Championship. I'm your host James, and with me for this evening is Ryan. How you doing, Ryan?
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, I'm not bad, thank you very much. Looking forward to a good session of racing at Monza.
Yeah, so guys, first and foremost, let's just show you briefly who we're actually working with for this particular series. As you can see, it's 3Drap sim racing equipment. So yeah, these guys are going to be they're going to be sponsoring the whole series. And from my right, if I'm right, the top 3 drivers from at the end of the championship will actually receive some equipment from these guys. So big thanks to 3Drap for sponsoring us. Massive thing for us to get a sponsor for the stream and as you know, a sponsor for the series. So yeah, thanks to 3Drap. They do mods for like shifters, brakes, things like that. Go and check them out. There'll be sponsors coming up throughout the stream as well. So keep your eyes open on that one, guys. So yeah, we're here at Monza. The Ginettas and Monza, Brian. I mean, first and foremost, the layout for this particular series is quite a unique one. Why don't you tell us a little bit more about the series and how a race weekend is going to run?
Yeah, so race weekend, obviously starting off at Monza here. So we're going to be running a good qualifying, which is going to last. So we're going to have a 15-minute qualifying. Followed by, then we're going to start off with today. The first race is going to be a 20-minute reverse grid race, but it's going to be based on the current seeding for the championship after we had our time trials. So starting from 1 to 20 is going to be first reverse grid for 20 minutes. It should be interesting to see the fast guys having to sort of push their way through, just trying to maybe catch up with the slow guys. At the bottom of the seeding should be really interesting.
Yeah, exactly.
And then after that, obviously, we'll then have a 15-minute qualifying, and then straight into another 20-minute race based on the qualifying positions. So it should be good.
Yeah. So it's an interesting one. Obviously, the Ginetta is not the fastest GT4 car around. So, for the drivers, Ryan, what does that kind of mean for the drivers? How are they meant to approach this particular race?
Yeah, it's tricky because these cars top out in 6th gear around roughly 148 mile an hour.
Yep.
They're not the quickest things, so slipstreaming isn't really going to be a thing, you know, especially on the main straight. Perhaps on the back straight after the 2 Lesmos down to Ascari might be a bit of slipstream opportunity, but other than that, it's going to be pretty much on all the time on the brakes. Who can get the latest on the brakes, good cornering and good out the corners.
Yeah, some good moves from some good drivers. Hopefully to see some stuff. So yeah, we're just waiting for the race to just set itself up, guys. So we will be running in just a second. Again, like we say, 3Drap sponsoring this. Top 3 going to receive a brake or shifter mod for their current equipment. It's all tailored to that person, which is really cool. So yeah, big thanks to 3Drap. But yeah, let's get to the first race of the series, right?
Yeah, let's get it going. All lined up here in the reverse grid race here. So as you can see, the car numbers next to all the drivers there showing their seeding position. So the car number is representing where they came in the pre-season time trials, showing off who's P1 and P20, as you can see. So it's going to be interesting to see how the sort of lower guys in the seeding, starting at the front today, can try and fend off the faster drivers behind.
Yeah.
It's not too big of a difference in speed, to be fair, between all the drivers. The time differences are actually quite close in these Ginettas, which is really good for good racing. So it'll be good to see what happens at T1. We all know what Monza T1's like.
Yeah, that's it. And I think, you know, we're looking at some of the drivers here. We've actually got them all sat on the grid just waiting for the formation lap right now. Looks like they're starting to set off now. Looks like we're hearing some of the cars start to leave the grid. On board there with Rob Shorey in the number 7 Ginetta, who is number 7 in the seedings. So, as you said, Ryan, the seedings work as the guy in first place was the slowest out of everyone that's here today, and the guy in 13th is the fastest out of that time trial. So it's all about just a quick reverse grid race at the start of the season to gain some points for certain people. Ultimately, it's going to be a pretty good race because we've not seen any of these guys race these cars yet in this season, so we don't know who's actually got the pace.
No, we don't know who's going to be the quickest on the track. The seeding may not potentially represent that driver's actual potential speed. Maybe someone in 5th could actually maybe find a bit more pace in the car since the last time they drove it. As you say, we don't actually know their full-on pace yet, so we might see some good fights going on early on in the race. People finding that nice comfortable spot.
In first position, so for the first race, we've got Ian Richards in first. A pretty consistent driver, never outright on the pace, unfortunately, but he's always there, and his defending quality is actually really good. So we'll see how he's able to maintain position throughout this race. And then second off, we have that's Jeffries. I think that's I checked that right with my sign-up list. I'm pretty sure that is. Let me have a quick look for you guys. Can't get his name for some reason. I can't remember his name. We're going to call him Jeffries. For some reason I can't remember his... It might be Dustin. It might be Dustin Jeffries. So Dustin Jeffries in the P18 car. Yeah. As they come through Ascari. So we're going to get through the rest of the grid now. Just as we get towards the start of this race. Third place. And actually that's not in third place. That's fourth place. Connor Galbraith. But third place is James Haskell in the yellow number 12 Ginetta machine. Then in fourth place we've got fourth place we've got Connor Galbraith. In fifth place we've got Ash Knight, which for some reason our system doesn't seem to want to work properly, but we'll just... Yeah, we've got Ash Knight in P5, Chavez in P6, Rob Shorey, who we mentioned earlier, P7, Corkery P8, Tim Mould in P9, Tam Hamill in P10, Ben Litherland in P10, Ian Hall, who was start of the GT3 Zolder last week in P12, and Ryan Brown rounding out the back of the pack in P13 in the number 1 Ginetta. So it's going to be an interesting race, and we're about to get underway.
Yep, just coming up to the start finish line. Rolling start, wait for the lights to go green. Could be an interesting start.
And off we go and roll away with our first race in this season. And looks like Connor Galbraith got a really good start there at the beginning. Already pulling ahead of James Haskell, the pack at the back. Looks like Ben Litherland's made a few spots already. Looks like he's trying to battle with Ian Hall. Looks as though Ash actually got a little bit loose there into the front of Haskell, and Richards has actually caught the corner at the start there, but you know, we give drivers a little bit of leeway on this first lap to see sort of how things are going for each driver.
Yep, running down now past the Curva Grande. The car's quite bunched up at the moment. Got a few people too wide coming into the first chicane here, right up on each other's bumpers as well. Is anyone going to catch anyone on the braking point?
So far, but someone's gone off there. Someone has gone off. And we're going to try and catch that person, see who that was. It was Tim Mould. It was Tom Mould. It was Tom Mould. Yeah, he's gone a little bit wide. I think, not entirely sure what happened there.
Looks like he's got a bit of damage there as well now.
It does. It looks like as though he might have hit the wall, which is really unfortunate.
Oh, side by side there for the second Les mode.
Ryan there, so Ryan's made up some places on Tom there. That's quite impressive.
Now coming down to Ascari again. All the cars pretty bunched up.
Galbraith going for P1. Galbraith going for P1 into Ascari and over the curb, and he's across the grass. He's actually across the grass.
Looks like he's taking quite a lot of time there. Wonder if he got a warning.
I think he will have gained a lot of time there. That's right. But we'll wait and see. See if anything's off, anything's handed out. I doubt anything will be. First lap and probably getting a little bit loose. So benefit of the doubt always with this sort of thing.
Yep, coming round now, last corner.
And that's your first lap done, guys. I mean, we've got Conor Galbraith in first, Ian Richards in second, Jeffries in third, Alf Knight in fourth. Jeffries has just been taken, so Chavez now in third. So again, the guy's really mixing it up. This reverse grid race, Ryan, it's already showing. I think Ian Richards has just gone off. I think
He has indeed.
And lost the position to Chavez, so Richards really struggling with the car, I think, especially into turn 1 at the moment.
Yeah, it might be a bit cold, perhaps. The tyres still a bit cold. These things do suffer quite hard on the braking. It's quite difficult to perhaps try and get the right brake bias set up. These cars are front engined, but I do think they prefer. Someone's just touching the grass there on the entry onto the chicane there. Yeah, these cars are quite tricky on the braking. Oh, there's a bit of contact there. Is that between James Haskell and possibly Jeffries?
I think so. That was a really good save, actually, on the grass. Pretty sure
that was
side
nasty
there, so that was quite good. But the car's now really bunching up, especially sort of mid-pack. Really starting to bunch up together. And, yeah, Hamill doing a great job in P7 right now.
A good little pack here of 4 cars, really close together. Again, it's going to come down to the braking into Ascari. Looks like James has just got him on the brakes there on this quarter panel coming into Ascari.
Let him go there. I think he let him go, and Tom Hamill really using the curbs through the second section, the second phase of Ascari there. Ash Knight really pressuring Ian Richards, so we'll try and catch that because he's going for that move. Is he going to have
going for the move? And the braking might just squeeze it.
Richard's giving him the space as well. And Richard's trying to carry that pace around the outside, but looked like he got a little bit loose on the way out there, and he's really lost some time there to Ash Knight.
So on the marbles on the outside of Parabolica, not a lot of grip out there.
Meanwhile, Chavez and Galbraith pulling a nice little window between those two. So they're starting to get away from the rest of the pack.
Yeah, it's still really close there in the back of the pack. This is some brilliant close racing as Brian's just making the move on the inside.
Coleman Corker is getting through there on the in P6 right now. He's made up some good ground there, I think.
Yeah, he's done very well with us, starting in 6th. Moved up a few positions from the start.
Yeah, he will have been probably about P7, P8 at the start.
Yeah, roughly
so
about that.
A couple of positions, a couple of drivers have made some mistakes. So yeah, very impressive from all the drivers so far.
It looks like possibly the best start at the moment is Tam Hamill starting in 4th. Would have been 10th place on the start of the race, now up into 5th position.
Absolutely, and really flying away there. It looks like Haskell's actually going to go for a move.
Looks like it's 3 wide here down to Ascari. Oh, that's very close.
There's been a big incident. There's been a huge incident. Oh my god, that's massive.
Oh dear. Oh dear, that's huge.
That is, oh, and there's another car.
Oh, it's coming by.
Oh dear, oh dear. Oh, that's not good at all. That's
That is really unfortunate.
that's
Oh,
not good.
no.
The damage. You can see the steering on the car. I mean, that's ruined right now.
Yeah, he's going to have to
And
pit
that
for
is
the... I mean, oh, and as well, Corky's car there as well. You can
that's
see the
ruined.
steering.
That's such a shame. Those drivers really. We don't not entirely sure what happened there. It looks as though Haskell was going down the middle, which he was entitled to do, but looks like someone moved maybe a little bit too much going through the kink.
Yeah, it's quite tight going down there. Maybe there's a slight movement made on the steering wheel. Just made a bit of contact and just sends everyone spiralling off. A massive incident there.
Such a shame. It looks like Corkery's really struggling with that car, and well, I mean, it would make sense for Richards to pit, wouldn't it? He's at the back, but I mean, you know, the damage on the car. Yeah, I mean, that's a car that needs to go in the pits, surely.
Yeah, if the steering's not particularly straight, then
No, he's not
it's
pitting.
best to pit. But he's carrying on.
So this could be a strategic call. Maybe he thinks he can get another lap in without any damage. Meanwhile, Jeffrey's now in front of Haskell, so Jeffrey's actually in front of that massive incident, and he's actually gained some positions back. So P8 now, the Yank Racing Machine, doing quite well, considering he's P18 in the time standings. He's actually doing really quite well in front of Haskell, who was P12 in the standings, the time trial. The only other driver that's close to him on that is Galbraith, who's currently leading the race.
Yeah, he's doing very well, Conor Galbraith. Just slightly out of Ascari there. That was a beautiful shot.
It was a beautiful shot as he came through Ascari there, and yeah, the car's already started to spread out a little bit, but it looks as though Galbraith and Chavez. It looks like Haskell's actually got a drive-through penalty, as we say that, but yeah, it looks like Galbraith and Chavez really setting away from each other. I wonder if perhaps they're starting to work together this early on, right?
Possibly. Again, the slipstream's not the greatest here, but if he can just get in that 1 second gap onto Conor, if Dan Chavez can get that 1 second gap, it might just be a bit of slipstream opportunity, leading down to Ascari and just after Curva Grande, just to get a bit more speed. It looks like he's already closed up into 9/10 now. Possibly under braking, maybe he has a bit of a later braking point into T1. They're very harsh on the brakes into there,
Yeah.
easy to get it wrong.
Meanwhile, the guys behind, Tam and Ash Knight. This looks like it's going to be a race-long battle.
Or as you can see, Ash 9th there and seemingly Tam 4th, so perhaps Tam slightly quicker than Ash.
Yeah.
This could get quite close quite quickly.
Well, only 6/10 between Hamill and Knight, so yeah, I think we're actually getting word back regarding the drive-through penalty. I think the drive-through penalty for Haskell there was because of speeding in the pit lane. So unfortunate for Haskell. That'll probably put him to the back of the pack, but you know, it's a long season this round, isn't it? As Ash goes wide through there. Oof. Yeah.
Yeah, looks like Tam's closing very quickly now onto Ash, coming onto a straight leading towards Ascari. Again, down here, there is a slipstream opportunity. You see he's tucked right in behind him. He's getting even closer, going to possibly make the move to the outside. Ash doing a good job of defending. We come onto the braking zone just after the bridge. Swinging it in. Switching sides, he doesn't know where to go.
Yeah.
Oh, Ash held that very well. Well done to Ash on defending, but Tam's still sticking with him, not giving up.
Oh, they're side by side. It's still side by side, and we're going to Parabolica. Ash with the inside line, so that's going to play right for Ash right now. Hamill getting that slipstream again though.
Yeah, so again, I'm going to top out about 148 mile an hour down here. Oh, this is going to be another move.
Now he's on the inside. Now Ash has got the outside. So, oh, Tam had a look, but didn't actually go for that move. So, perhaps kind of trying to buy this time a little bit.
Yeah, there's still about halfway down into the race. There's still a lot of opportunity to make the move if he feels like he's quicker possibly in a certain corner, he's going to choose to take that corner and get round Ash. But he's sticking with him. Might be using him to drag him along a little bit.
So of course, guys, this race is a 20-minute race, guys. So for those who aren't aware, this is a 20-minute race, and yeah, so far, you know, it's a reverse grid. The 20 minutes is designed to kind of slow the pack at the back down a little bit and try and generate some fresh winners. Ash running wide there. That's the second time in as many laps that he's actually run wide at the exit of Lesmo 1. And it looks as though Tam's still with him. This battle really heating up.
Yeah, looks like Ash isn't terribly comfortable around the first Lesmo. Just on the exit, it's quite easy to go wide there. They're very eager to get on the throttle.
Sitting with Ryan Brown now, who's seeded P1 in the time trial, so doing an alright job. Looks like he had to get through some traffic. I think he was actually behind the incident coming out of Lesmo 2, where those cars crashed into each other. It looks as though Ash has actually been passed by Tam. I'm not entirely sure how that's happened. I think that may have been done in the Ascari. He was definitely flashing his lights at Tam, so perhaps a little bit of a squeeze, maybe?
Perhaps, yeah, might have been a bit of a please let me go, I'm quicker than you flash of the lights. Just to let him know that he's a bit quicker. Maybe he wants to get past and catch up to this pack of leading 2, which Connor's doing very well, holding his own. With the seeding 11, possibly one of the lower seedings, but he's doing very well holding his own in first place right now.
He really is. I think the incidents behind have really helped. I think he's actually going to start lapping some cars already. Looks as though we've got Haskell, and I think that might be, yeah, it's Tom Mould. So I think they're on the same lap and actually battling. Oh no, they're not battling, sorry. Looks like Tom is actually 2 laps down, or a lap down, and Haskell could end up a lap down by the end of this lap if Connor keeps up that incredible pace.
Yeah, obviously the drive-through not helping. Easy to do in the pit lane, speeding. We've all done it, we've all been there. Not fun. But he's doing very well still in 10th place.
Ian Richards still carrying the damage, I think.
He is, that's pretty impressive, considering he may have some steering damage on the car.
Yeah, it looks as though on the lap that it happened, it looks as though he got really loose out of Parabolica, which for these cars is kind of a strange thing to see. To get loose out of Parabolica is kind of weird. You know, the downforce starts working, the grip is pretty good on these cars, so, yeah.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see if he can possibly catch up to Jeffries.
Now, the pack really spread out at the start of this race. I think that's probably due to the incidents. Litherland, really damaged car, and I'm not entirely sure why. I think there was a couple of incidents, possibly one with Ian Hall coming out of turn 1. Where I think he may have got nudged into a wall, but yeah, I mean, Ben doing a great job. P6 got through that melee of cars before the Ascari, and I think survived that. So yeah, chasing just behind Ryan as well. So you know, these guys, if pace is anything to go by, championship is going to be pretty close.
Yeah, the pace between the drivers does look very close. Looking at the timesheets, Ben doing some very quick laps. Ryan, I think, is just slightly slow, a couple of tenths slower than Ben. Looking at the timesheets here, so Ben definitely showing his pace around here in the car. Obviously found the spot where he's comfortable, as Ashes has now started closing back up onto Tam. Back up now to 7/10 here, coming around the second Lesmo. Perhaps Tam's struggling maybe with the tyres.
Well, I was going to say, seeding perhaps doesn't really mean anything right now, because Tam, who is seeded P4, had to fight with Knight to get past, who's seeded P9, but you would think Tam would drive away, but it looks as though maybe this circuit is more attuned to Ash Knight.
Yeah, might prefer the hard braking zones. Might have a really good feeling on the brakes. You see, he's now down to 8/10. Like you say, the seeding at this time might not mean anything. Obviously, closing in on Tam. Yeah, some people may be more suited to this track than others. Seems to be now that Dan Chavez there in P2 is quite actually struggling to keep up with Connor. So Dan seeded 8th, not too far off Connor. Who's that there closing in behind?
I think that's a lap car.
Possibly a lap car, is it there?
P5, I think that's Tom Mould, I think.
Ah, yes, that makes sense.
Yeah, it is.
Actually getting quite close now to the sort of last few laps of this race. We'll see Corky there doing 1:56.8. I'm not sure actually doing quite well, doing solid there in P9.
Yeah, doing a solid. I think avoided those incidents again, and I think that incident before Ascari, Ryan, kind of set the finishing order, I think, because it doesn't look as though the gaps are going to start shrinking. The only gap that's really worth watching right now is actually Ash Knight and Sam Hamill. They're still fighting. What a great race.
Yeah, still going strong. He obviously wants that P3, he wants the podium position. He's going to fight for it until the end. Maybe the last 3 or 4 laps. He's chasing him down. He's got him. Tam's got him in his rearview mirror. He knows that he's coming. Perhaps he can put on a bit of pressure. Looks like Tam takes those bumps into Ascari very, very aggressively. Really hits him, jumps. Looks like he's got a car on the track. Oh, that was incredibly close there. Some great reactions there from Tam to avoid the car sat there on the outer of the Ascari chicane. Incredible stuff.
He really struggled there. I don't know what happened there, but that's going to really make him suffer a little bit more than he's already suffering this race, which is a shame because he's seeded P5, so there's maybe more to come from Tom, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, by no means at all is he slow. P5 in the seeding, he's definitely got the pace to put in some really good lap times. Just maybe this track just doesn't suit him, perhaps. Quite slidey, not a lot of wing put on the rear of the cars because obviously you want the max top speed. A bit slidey.
And it looks as though it's happened. Ash has actually passed Tam, so we missed that. But there we go. They've managed to get past one another. This race hasn't stopped. We've got probably another lap to go, would you say?
Yeah, it looks like about roughly the time left for another lap. But Tam's going to really want to get that place back. He was holding that P3 position for a good 10 minutes. And Ash has really hunted him down. Congratulations to Ash. Tam is not going to give it up very easily. As you see, right on his bumper.
The distance between Chavez and Galbraith has come down a little bit, but I mean, Galbraith is really driving away from this one.
Yeah, done very well. Has a Cal done a really good job sticking it in P1. Has actually sort of pulled away, but again, the incidents sort of spread the pack quite a bit.
They did, but it's still. We've got Hamill and Ash fighting here, and then just in the background, just coming into shot there at the back is Ryan. He was in the shot a second ago. Ryan Brown seeded P1. I don't think he's going to be able to make any mounts for an attack right now. I think he's just too far back, but another couple of laps and maybe he could have caught up with these two, considering how much they're fighting.
Yeah, possibly. Fighting around here really does slow you down, especially when you're trying to outbrake each other. Going around the corners, you're definitely a bit slower. Coming now down the start-finish straight. Tam's trying to sit in the slipstream behind Ash, trying to get as much out of the car as possible, which he is gaining slightly. He's going to try and perhaps make a move down the inside here. Bit of late braking. Are we going to see him sneak up? No, we're not.
Nope.
Ash has covered it off.
So that means Tam's only got a few corners really to make this attack on Knight's stick. Meanwhile, if we go to Galbraith, coming through into the Lesmos. Great first race from Galbraith, really. Chevette has closed up a couple of tenths this lap, but I don't think it's of any concern to Galbraith. I think he probably knows he's got the pace now to take it to the end. Right.
Yeah, he's definitely got the pace to the end. Just needs to keep calm and collective. Get it around Ascari, get around Parabolica, and across the finish line. And he's done a very good job to keep that in P1, especially with his seeding. Definitely found his spot in the car. Whereas still following now Tamanash. Coming up to Ascari. Is Tam going to make any opportunity to get past him? Looks like he's a bit far away. As we're now back on board with Connor here. Done a really good race. He has really done well. Just got to get it, send it round Parabolica now. Nice and easy. No need to throw it all away now. Here he comes around the last corner. Followed closely here by Dan Chavez. As Connor now finishes the race, and it looks like he was sliding over the line. Tam's made the move on Ash. He's actually got the move done. Coming around the Parabolica. This is brilliant. Tam's done a great job to get it past the Parabolica. Save it till the last second, and he crosses the line in P3. Can you believe that? Diz, that's incredible.
What a crazy race. What a crazy race that was. Yeah. Wow. Impressive. Tam Hamill taking Ash at the end there. I did not expect that. Fantastic racing from all drivers. Shame about the crash sort of early on. But yeah. Really impressive. Your highlights so far from that race?
I mean, obviously, we can see clearly a lot of great pace from some of the drivers, especially Connor and Dan. Both Connor there seeded 11th, Dan seeded 8th. They're actually matching the lap times of the people seeded possibly P1 and 5 in the seedings, matching their lap times. So this possibly one P1 and maybe to 11th back. We can see pretty similar pace coming further on in the series, and even possibly in the second race, the feature race at Monza. Yeah. Which we're going to have a 15-minute qualifying for.
Absolutely, and I think apart from that incident, it was pretty good racing from most cars. Lots of space given, and you know, the first race, I think everyone testing each other in terms of how well they can do. So what we're going to do is now, guys, we're going to have a quick advert break, and then we'll come back. We'll bring you race 2. We'll give you the qualifying results for race 2 when we come back, just before race 2 starts. So stick around. welcome back guys to the CRS 3Drap Ginetta Gt4 Cup. I'm your host James, and with me is Ryan now. Ryan, that first race, really interesting, a couple of incidents, but the overall winner of that first race, Connor Galbraith. Your thoughts on Connor's performance?
Yeah, big congratulations to Connor. Done really good job to carry P1 there to the end of the race. Done a really good job, so he'll be looking again to get a good result from the second feature race. Yeah, so we're going to be moving on now to race 2.
Yeah, and just before race 2, we actually have the qualifying results. The qualifying session was a wet session, and so the starting grid for the next race looks something like this. Now, this is not a seeded race, is it? So all these positions now are done based on qualifying times. So, first place you've got Ian Hall, second place is Ryan Brown, then third place is Ben Litherland. So the top 3 seeded drivers in the top 3 places. Tom Mould in P4, Chavez in P5, Rob Shorey in P6, Connor Galbraith, the race 1 winner, in P7, struggling in the wet a little bit. Tam Hamill, the star of the first race there, taking third place at the line against Ash Knight. He starts ahead of Ash Knight in P8, Ash Knight in P9. Coleman Corkery, sorry, starting in P10 in the number 6 car. Jeffries starting 11th. Haskell starting 12th, which is a little bit surprising considering his seeding number, but surely there's some explanation for that. And Ian Richards starting at the back in P13. So it's going to be an interesting little race. It's going to be close. We know that the session is going to be a dry race session. Yeah, what's your thoughts now you know the grid, Ryan?
Yeah, so obviously, like you said, we've got the top 3 seeded drivers in P1, 2 and 3.
Yeah.
So that'll be really interesting to see how the pace of each driver is different. Seeing in the time trials, looking at the times, there's tenths within them, within the times there. And then from 4th downwards, all the seedings look about roughly where they should be. There's a couple of people that maybe have 4 spots off maybe where they should be. But possibly it was a wet qualifying session, so may not have been used to the wet conditions yet in these cars. As you see, we've got a dry race, so may find a bit more time, and they'll make some great racing action. Going to dry here again in Monza.
And so there we go, guys. We're actually waiting on the grid now for the cards to set off from their formation lap. Yeah, it's been a close one so far. Just a quick shout out to our sponsors, 3Drap. You can check out their sim gear at 3drap.gp. Yeah, 3Drap offering some really great gear there, Ryan.
Yes, 3Drap makes some fantastic sim racing equipment. Be sure to check them out and definitely grab some stuff off them. Definitely improve the racing and your fun of the racing as well. So jump over there and have a look at them. See the cars now just starting the formation lap, getting all the tyres warmed up and ready to go for the race. As GT4s don't actually have tyre blankets. Did someone just go off there and hit the wall?
I believe someone did, yeah. Gonna find out who that is. I think that might have been Tom Mould. Looks like he damaged his car already. That's not a good start for Paul Skinback Racing Ginetta. I guess we'll see what happens. He's taking position back where he was, but that wasn't a good start for Mould there.
Yeah, I do hope he's not damaged the car too much that he can't race. Possibly just a bit too eager there to warm the tyres up and a bit heavy on the throttle. I'm sure he'll be okay though. Sure
Last
he'll be fine.
race winner Connor Galbraith there. Like you say, Ryan did a fantastic job in that first race. Now starting sort of mid-pack. He was sort of mid-pack last race as well. So, you know, is this something that he enjoys doing, getting through the pack, or maybe it's this track that suits his style? I guess we'll find out as this race goes on.
Yeah, let's see where he can get to from mid-pack. It's just heading now around halfway around the track. It's the first Lesmo. Again, for Tom hit the wall there. I was about to say the tyre blankets, GT4s don't actually have any tyre blankets when starting the race, so you definitely have to warm your tyres up as much as possible on the formation lap.
Jeffrey's there in P11 with Haskell and Richards behind. Jeffrey's actually did a pretty good race last race. Didn't struggle too much, and I think brought some points home. So I mean that's quite impressive for a seeded 18 driver. He does have the pace. He just needs to find that pace. He does have a faster driver behind him. In terms of seeded anyway. So I guess we'll see what happens.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see if Jeffries and even possibly Ian Richards can maybe get up the sorting order a bit, seeing as their seedings are quite the lower end. Looking at sort of the mid-pack there, there's like Rob Shorey, the seedings there are quite a bit of a mix there in the mid-pack.
They are a little bit, yeah. You've got seeded 6 Corkery, seeded 4 Hamill, and seeded 9 Knight, and then seeded 11 Galbraith, and then seeded 7 Shorey. So it's a bit of a little mixed bag at the front. I think the top 4 are kind of in the right position, really, in terms of seeding. Yeah, interesting.
Yeah, perhaps maybe some drivers just found a bit more pace in the car in the dry after driving around here. Okay, the time trial was held at the Nürburgring. It's a bit of a different track to Monza. People perhaps finding better setups at the tracks.
Looks like the cars are getting...
yeah, getting ready to go.
Looks like they're getting ready to go now as we get onto this. Ian Hall in the Enduro Motorsports GT4 entry. Did a great race last race. Kind of struggled a little bit, but was just hanging there really with the guys. He actually had a disconnect, but managed to come back. So unfortunate for Ian Hall, but looking like he's going to make amends this race by well, he's qualified first, so I guess we'll see.
Yep, so we're just about to cross the start-finish line.
Yep.
Driver's getting ready to put the foot down, and the lights go green.
And off we go, we're away. And it looks as though Ryan Brown and Ian Hall sort of teaming up together straight away. Look at that, the car on the right hand side there. You've got Galbraith cutting across. He's actually going, he's gone into the grass, and oh, there's been a massive
oh dear,
happened there. That's an absolute mess. Really unfortunate for the drivers involved. Not entirely sure what happened there. Galbraith cut the corner there. Looks as though he's actually taken second place. So I'm not entirely sure how that one's worked out.
Yeah, not sure if he should really be giving the positions back there. As cutting the corner there after the incident, he should really be giving the positions back. Oh, looks like he's gone straight on there. Perhaps just going to give them back coming through the chicane. Looks like all the cars have made it through.
Yeah. Now the car that's coming up to him now should actually be letting him through.
Oh, 3 wide there for the first test mode.
Really, kind of a bit of a messy start there from our last race winner. Bit of a shame, but we all make mistakes. Ryan Brown really pulling away. P1 already. Ian Hall chasing right behind. The pack behind Ian is a little bit daunting actually. There's a lot of cars there.
Yeah, a lot of 2 wide going on down there, down the straight towards the Scari. Hopefully they can sort it all out before they get there. Ian Hall being chased down here by Dan Chavez, sitting right on the rear of his car, moving on to the outside line for the next corner.
Don't question out Litherland in Q4, who's going to try and make some sort of dive for the podium positions here. He's actually going to go down the inside of Chavez, and it's so close. That was door to door as he went through Parabolica, and it looks like he might actually have a bit of a run on him. He's going to sneak in behind that slipstream and see if it makes it better. We're going to stick with these guys as they come down to turn 1. Looks as though Ian Hall may be struggling a little bit. Maybe he's got a little bit better aero for the corners.
Yeah, we're just coming to the breaking point as Dan makes a fantastic move there.
Fantastic move.
That was brilliant.
Whoa,
absolutely
and there's a
fantastic
car
racing.
that's actually gone off. Not
Is that the car of James Haskell?
I believe it was. It looked like he completely missed his braking going into turn 1. It looks like he managed to avoid everyone, which, you know, decent driving from him, but yeah, not really great to be missing the braking point for turn 1 and nearly pinballing a load of cars.
Very good to miss the other cars. Very good driving.
Now back with Dustin Jeffries. So actually Haskell hasn't really made up any positions. He's about to make up 2 positions. There we go. So 2 positions in one go. But yeah, struggling a little bit. Dustin Jeffries in the 18 machine, the Yank Racing machine, kind of just going to sit there. He's had to sort of let Haskell go through. Ash Knight now under pressure from Haskell. Yeah, this looks better. This looks like a more interesting race. The last race was, I think, tarred a little bit by the incidents that happened early on in the race. Looks like the drivers are kind of learning now what they can and can't do with these cars. I say that, and I say that, and it looks as though that was
that Rob
Ash Knight and
Shorey?
Tom Mould. That was Tom Mould and Ash Knight going into Ascari and flipping each other.
That's really unfortunate.
Ryan Brown now really starting to pull away from field 2.2 seconds to Chavez, so really starting to sort of showcase some real pace. Ben Litherland in P4, he's really starting to get chased by Coleman Corkery in the EIRE racing machine. Yeah, Corkery doing a pretty good job actually. Chavez probably doing the best job in terms of seeding. But Corkery, he's at P5, doing a great job.
Yeah, the top 6 looking already solid at the moment. Like you say, Corkery and D. Chavez are actually looking really good for their seeding positions right now. Chavez sitting in second, about 2 seconds or roughly off Ryan in first place. Closely followed by Ian Hall and Ben in Corkery. Looking back at Ian Richards and Rob Shorey, it looks like the time difference between them is looking pretty close there. P9 and P10. Perhaps maybe a bit of battling going on back there. It's like possibly Ian Richards made just a bit of a mistake there.
Quite possible. It's as though he's lost a little bit of ground on Shorey. Shorey, surprisingly, towards the back of the grid. Haskell, I think, is right at the back. So
Yeah, it looks like he might have suffered possibly a bit of damage on the
not sure
when
why
he
that
cut
was.
T1 perhaps.
Oh, actually, we've just found out that was a drive-through penalty for Haskell for being positioned incorrectly at the start. So looks like he might have actually gained a position at the start there. So that's why he's now at the back. Probably looking to just get rid of this weekend and focus on the next weekend ahead, which will be at Zolder.
Yeah, I think that will be a much better track for these cars. Definitely not going to be reaching top speed in these and hanging it out for a good 5 seconds, so be a bit more aero dominant through Zolder. Possibly see a lot more battling going on around there. I was looking back up at P4, Ben Litherland closing it in, it looks like, on Ian Hall. Very close there into T1.
Very close. Really starting to tease Ian a little bit and say, yo, I'm here, man, and I'm going to show you what I'm about. Chavez, not that far up the road either.
No, not at all. Ben there seeded in third and Ian in second. I think Ben wants to, like you say, show Ian what he's got. Show him that he can be quicker than him, even if he's one seeding behind.
And Chavez really making... Wow, and that was really loose on the exit of that chicane there. But great driving from Ben Litherland. I mean, it's Chavez that's really really impressed me right now. Seeded P8 and running P2. Really made some ways in terms of getting through the pack early on.
Yeah, possibly there on setup perhaps. Maybe found a bit of a better adjustment in the corners. These things do tend to slide quite a bit on turning and on the throttle a little bit sometimes. Maybe he's tried to manage to get that all out of the car. He's coming through Ascari. They hit that bump so aggressively there, just on the last corner. Surprised it doesn't unsettle the car. Heading down now to the Parabolica. D. Chavez not actually losing any time to Ryan in the first place there. It looks like he's actually keeping within the time frame of around 1.7 seconds.
Well, it's going on to lap 5 as Ryan starts lap 5 there, and yeah, Chavez doing a great job. Just sort of, I think, probably, I'd say even this early, considering just consolidating this position. You know, it looks as though if he tries to pressure Ryan, I feel like Ryan might have a little bit. Actually, Chavez a little bit wide, a little bit deep on the brakes into turn 1 there, and that's going to cost him some time going down towards the second chicane. It's actually going to give Ian Hall a little bit of a look in terms of preparation for maybe a move in a couple of corners' time. This could be the pressure starting to mount on top of the seeded A driver.
Yeah, perhaps he's not used to keeping the consistent pace up compared to the 1, 2 and 3 guys. So you can see he's being chased down by seeding 2 and 3, Ian and Ben Litherland there. He might be feeling the pressure now, as Ian is definitely closing in.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, one driver we haven't really looked at for the last couple of laps is Coleman Corkery, who's only just behind Litherland. You know,
Yeah, not far at all, is he?
It's a very impressive drive from Corkery in the ERIE Ginetta machine. Tam Hamill just behind him, 1.6 seconds away. Yeah, what a great drive from the Irish driver. One of the only Irish entry on the grid, doing a fantastic job waving his flag, and yeah, I mean, I think he is the only Irish driver on the grid as well, which is really impressive.
Yeah, I believe he is. He's actually closing really close now onto Ben Litherland. He's very much in his sort of receding position, where his pace is probably lying a bit wide there on the outing of Parabolica, but carrying the speed through nonetheless. You get a bit of a slipstream just into the higher gear range of the Ginetta. As I say, it doesn't have a very high top speed. It hits about top speed just after the finish line. Where right now we'll be maxing out the revs. As you can probably hear the engine screaming, braking just after the 150 board. Heavy braking into first gear. Trying to get the power down as early as possible. Well, he's really closing in, isn't he, on Ben? Really close.
In fact, this pack of 4 cars is actually really close together now. Chavez and Paul really starting to have a bit of a battle, and then Corkery and Litherland having a battle, and this could be what brings all 4 of these drivers together.
Yeah, it'd be great to see a 4-way battle between them all, slowing each other down. That'd be some fantastic racing. Tam just slowly crawling on behind the front 4 there, just trying to maybe keep with them, keep a bit consistent. Doesn't want to let it go off track too many times.
Because though he is getting a little bit loose.
Ooh, yes,
in
just
places
slightly.
where the other drivers aren't. And then race 1 winner Conor Galbraith running in P7 right now, so improved slightly early on. Rob Shorey and Jeffries going at it right now. Rob Shorey starting to chase Jeffries down, actually pulling away from Ash Knight, who P4 last race, so I wonder where the pace has gone from Ash Knight.
Yeah, maybe he's just feeling a bit of pressure. I think he qualified quite well actually, I think, in qualifying session. I think he was P8 in qualifying. Looks like he's dropped back a position. But pushing along, nonetheless. Doing a good job. Ash Knight following behind there, about 3 seconds. I still think this might come down to tyres, James. As we can see, Dan Chavez, has he been overtaken there by Ian Hall?
Corkery's been overtaken Litherland.
This is great. So we have Ian and Dan. Oh, good look at that. 2 wide down into turn 1 there. That's going to be close.
And Chavez holding Hall off there. Really great defensive driving from Chavez.
It looks like Now it's going to be Chavez, Ian Hall, Corkery and Ben in that P4 pack there.
And they're really closing in on each other. I said this, and it looks as though all four drivers, now that Corkery's actually got past Litherland, Corkery's going to start to catch up Hall, who is catching up to Chavez, and that's going to leave Litherland with maybe a chance to catch all three of them. So maybe this has worked out for Litherland best.
We're going to see a few laps down the line. It's great to see though the seeded driver Corkery P6 really pushing on the higher seeded guys. You know, it just shows that the pace difference between them is very, very minimal.
Absolutely. And looks like there's another move going down there for Hamill and Litherland. So where's Litherland's pace gone all of a sudden? He's really struggling. This is going to be the second car in as many laps that's having a look. Cal Braith also having a look.
Him a chance as well, isn't it? It's giving him a chance to catch up. Are we going to see a move here?
Are we going to see a move from Gal Braith as well?
He might squeeze through. He might find a gap.
Nice and close on the way out of the corner and out of the parabolica. This has actually left the top four guys to drive away now. Ryan Brown, 3 seconds in front. Sam Hamill comes across the line and he's now P3. Sorry, P5.
Going to come down to the braking. Oh, that's close between all three drivers. Can they stick it out? It's going to make the move on the inside.
Fantastic
Switching it again.
Pull away from Gal Braith. Did not expect that, and that's fantastic driving from the two Scottish drivers pulling away from Litherland, who's seeded P3.
Yeah, done a pretty good job there to stick it out of the corner, but I don't think Jeffries is going to give that up easily, is he? He's just sticking with him, and Calbraith's thinking about making the move there on Tam, perhaps?
Possibly, yeah. Speaking of Jeffries and Shorey, they're actually fighting it out now. There's 4/10 between Shorey and Jeffries. Shorey, again, a P7 seeded driver, but struggling, I think, at this particular track to make inroads into the higher points. But you know, another point here could ensure some a good recovery drive from the British driver.
Yeah, could really do with some points after the first race. It looks like Ian Hall is closing heavily now on Chavez. Going to be heading possibly into Parabolica now. And as well as Corkery as well is closed in as well. It looks like. Going to be 3 man down into Parabolica. As well as the pack behind as well. We've got Cal Braith, Tam and Ben Litherland as well within the 3 pack heading to Parabolica.
Litherland has actually lost out, but Gal Braith is the out-and-out winner of that fight right now. He was P7, and he's now P5, so he's made it 2 places there, while Hamill and Litherland, they're going to go about their battle, and Gal Braith is saying, well, I won the first race, so I'm going to try and go and get as many points as I can, boys. I will see you later. And he looks like he's starting to check out already.
He's taken a massive advantage from Litherland and Hamill fighting. Done some brilliant driving to keep it in the 5th place there, as we've still got Corkery, Ian and Chavez still fighting for the position here. There's a bit of a train going on here between P4 and 6, 3 and 5, sorry, and between
another train between
7th.
10th, 9th and 8th as well. So it seems as though we've got a few drivers all sitting in their own little bubbles.
Yeah, it's like a pack of 3 here, 3 different bubbles we've got here going, all within the sort of the seconds of each other. This is some brilliant racing.
Absolutely, and I think it's great to see. This is really showcasing the ability of the drivers in this series. And Jeffries running wide, and that is a move for Shorey. Surely that is a move for Shorey as he goes down the inside.
Oh, that was close,
through
wasn't it?
Lesmo too, and I think that's slowed both of those drivers down. This could be a chance for Ash Knight to start to make some inroads and start getting back in their points.
Yeah, he's definitely closing in after that little tussle there with the Lesmos. It looks like, is that Jeffries possibly trying to get down the inside of Rob? Not going to make it stick, it goes a bit wide. It's given Ash the chance to squeeze through. He's going to try and hit the
He's
bump,
got it, so now
keep it
Ash
on the
going to
track.
chase down on Rob Shorey. That was an impressive overtake from Ash. Jeffries really struggling through the Ascari, which is a shame, but Jeffries coming back at Ash Knight now as we come into Parabolica. Has he got the inside? Nope. Ash Knight just going to cover him off and say, I'm going to brake much later and drive around the outside. Very impressive.
Yeah, that is some brilliant racing there. As we're back up now with the top 4 drivers, with Corkery, Hall and Chavez. Looks like Chavez still holding Ian back there in P3. Doing a solid job of defending him off. Corkery's just hanging on behind.
He's doing a great job. Yeah, I think looking through the pack now, the times are starting to sort of widen out a little bit. I think the positions that the drivers needed to take, they have done so. Haskell currently still at the back. Fastest lap was a 59. He's actually closed in to 8 seconds on Ian Richards. I think it was 20 seconds. So even though he's at the back, that's still an okay drive from Haskell, but unfortunately, probably not the weekend he wanted. Richards the same as well, starting P1 in the first race and really struggling, having that incident in the first race, and now sort of just languishing at the back, but trying to just score some points. Looks as though he doesn't use all the circuit going into the chicanes, and I wonder if that's where his time is lost.
Yeah, definitely need to use as much track as possible around Monza. More track you use, the more time you're on the throttle, the more time you're going to gain. But again, like you say, a solid drive from both drivers. They've both done really well. Haskell, like you say, might just be looking forward to the next weekend. Bit of bad luck possibly on this occasion, but he'll definitely step it up.
Absolutely, Galbraith with a drive-through penalty. And he's just
I wonder what's... Oh, he's just gone off!
I'm not entirely sure where he went off, but is that Galbraith out? I think that might be him out.
Looked like a pretty solid hit there into the wall.
That might have been a retirement. Our race 1 winner out of this race. Not a good way to start your championship off. Really. I mean, it could be worse, but yeah, not the best way to start your championship off, Ryan, really, is it?
No, he's lost out on some valuable points there. He's gained 10 points from the reverse grid race, finishing in P1, but now he's lost any opportunity of gaining any sort of points in this race. That's really unfortunate there from Conor Galbraith.
That kind of spreads that pack out. It does not spread Corkery and Hall and Chavez. Hall actually got past Chavez there in the chicane. We just missed it as we came to the camera. And now it looks as though Corkery's actually going to start to fight Chavez. This is now where the seeding is starting to make more sense, because you've got P1, then P2, then you're going to have P4 and P6 battling. It's Liverland who's actually really struggling in P6 right now.
Yeah, it looks like he's been struggling for quite a lot of the race. I'm not sure really why he is. He's seeded P3, so he's definitely got the pace, but might be struggling with tyre pressures. He's looking pretty solid there around Ascari, so I wonder if he's just not used to the track. Maybe not be his track this weekend.
This battle's still going on at the front here.
It is.
This is impressive driving from all 3 drivers, and it's not even for the race win. The winner, who we haven't even looked at, really, with everything that's been going on, is Ryan Brown. We will cut to Ryan in just a moment. This is really hotting up now. Chavez trying to make sure he say, look, I've got the inside line. You're not having that inside line. I will brake later than you, and I will keep this position. Sure enough, he's there, and Ash Knight. Oh, he's actually managed. Ash Knight got his nose in, and that actually made a difference in terms of Chavez's exit. And now Ian Hall driving away.
Yeah, Ian's made some really good time up there from the Chavez and Corkery fighting. Corkery tried to make a brilliant move down on the inside, and T1 actually stuck his nose in on the quarter panel of Chavez. Hoping he can maybe try and make another move into there. He obviously likes the braking into T1.
Absolutely, and yeah, we'll just cut to. Oh no, we won't cut to the right. It looks there. Ash having another look. Sorry, Corkery having another look on Chavez. Really showing his nose. We will just cut to our race leader at the minute. That's Ryan Brown, who is currently flying at 5.7 seconds in the lead. Pretty commanding lead at the moment, would you say?
Yeah, it looks like he's doing a good solid race at the moment, just trying to keep it as consistent as possible. He's doing very well.
Yeah. I like this colour scheme as well. Kind of reminds me of like an army thing. I don't know why it looks like an army inspired livery with the camo green and the bright yellow stripes. Really nice little livery. Yeah, Corkery still chasing down Chavez, and Ash Knight now really behind Shorey. Both drivers really fighting out for that P7 spot.
Yeah, Ash is definitely not happy with the overtake before get that position back. Wants to get those valuable points. It's all going to be all precious for the championship.
Absolutely, and Shorey looking like he's actually weaving a little bit just to avoid that draft. Obviously, gets to a point where it's kind of irrelevant about here.
About when the top speed hits.
Yeah. But it's on the brakes that Ash Knight is just there and really showing his nose.
You can see the gap close massively on the brakes.
Absolutely, and it looks as though Haskell's actually got past Richards. Not sure how that's happened, but that has happened. That puts Richards down at the back, unfortunately. Nice little recovery drive from Haskell to get himself back, and it's Litherland who's just come out the pits. So it's Litherland who's at the back now.
Wonder if that was maybe damage then costing him before. That would make sense now.
That would make sense that the pace was off. But
Maybe a bit of aero damage.
He's got to get past Richards, and that's not an easy task.
No, Richards will be looking to fend him off as much as possible.
Well, this is an extra point for Richards that he probably didn't expect on when Haskell overtook him there, so yeah. It's getting really close now between Ash Knight and Rob Shorey as they come into Ascari, and it looks as though, again, Ash Knight really late on the brakes. Really chasing Rob Shorey now, really showcasing what he's got. And I mean, you know, these guys, they've been on this sim now for quite a while. Some of these drivers have had the sim longer than others. Some guys have got different equipment to other guys, but you know, not everyone has got top end equipment, and it doesn't necessarily equate to out and out lap pace, does it?
No, it all comes down to driver talent and skill, really. You could be using the worst equipment in the world and still come out on top. All comes down as to how you drive the car. As Ash really making the use of the slipstream, waiting to the last second to pull out on Rob there. Sticking to the outside line, but then to have the inside line for the second corner.
Bit of an odd choice to go for that outside line, but Rob's gone deep. And that's actually ruined the boat. Oh dear.
Oh
so
dear.
I think Rob struggled to get off the apex of the exit of the chicane, and now has that given Ash quite a bit of damage? I don't think it has. It's the damage to the rear of Shorey that's going to really affect things. It looks as though Ash is actually trying to get past Shorey. Shorey's blocking him. So he's there, but Ash coming down the inside. No! Had a quick look and thought better of it. Good move from Shorey to keep that position alive and well. Currently, that's the closest gap on the track. Corkery's actually dropped back 1.1 seconds away from Chavez. And yeah, Ian Hall is a little bit further up the road from Chavez now.
Looks like it's sort of spacing out a bit now. Drive sort of starting to calm down a little bit. hard having their battles, but good job there from Rob and Ash, doing some really good racing. Rob doing some good defending. Looks like Corkery's just under the second gap between him and Chavez. Looking to close it down. We saw on the closing laps now, perhaps 3 laps left until the finish of the race.
Two to go.
Real. 2 laps. Rob's still actually being overtaken now by Ash, I believe.
He has. He's just been overtaken by him. So sorry, missed that, folks. We don't get to see everything on here, so if we do miss things, we do apologise. But we're doing our best. And yeah, Rob Shorey struggling against Ash. Ash has come back from quite far back in the field, overtaken a few cars and kind of showcased what he's capable of doing, getting himself into P6. Funnily enough, right behind, well not right behind, but the next car in line is actually Tam Hamill, so those guys kind of finishing on the same thing. Looks as though Rob Shorey's got a better exit coming out of the chicane though, so this battle is not over.
Not by any means. He's going to be making last-minute moves coming to these last couple of laps. This Corky's actually closing up a bit now on Chavez. Possibly down to tyres now coming into these last laps.
Yeah, quite possibly. Ian Hall, nice little gap there for Ian Hall and Ryan Brown. Ian Hall's actually closed the gap on Ryan a little bit. Don't think it's going to be enough, but impressive drive from Ian Hall, who, as I say, had a really bad first race with a disconnect, and now he's come back and showcasing what he's actually capable of doing.
Yeah, showing that he is one of the quickest guys on the grid, doing really well, stuck it in second place. I don't think Corky is going to give Chavez any chance of keeping that podium position. I think Corky's really going to try and push. We're looking on board here with Liffland, who's had a bit of an unfortunate race. Started really well up in P3, but now back down into P10. Yeah. Possibly had a bit of damage, we think, maybe during the race, and had to pit for some repairs. It's very unfortunate.
Yeah, quite possibly. Bit of a shame for the 861 racing entry. But yeah, he's done an okay job. I think it's safe to say this is probably a recovery operation from this point, but you know, as a driver, Ryan, you have to, you know, realise the situation sort of early on and make the best of that situation rather than just expecting to win or go for that win every race.
Yeah, can't have the perfect race every race. Something is bound to go wrong eventually. Looks like today was the day that Ben Liffland happened to him.
And Corkery's got past Chavez.
Oh,
I'm sorry.
He has.
He's got past Chavez, and with half a lap to go.
Some pretty impressive driving there. He's actually made a bit of a gap as well.
He has.
Perhaps maybe Chavez lost a bit of time going off track.
So could this be our podium finishes, or could we see a last-minute parabolic dive? We're going to stick with these two drivers slightly. We are going to get to the leader as he crosses the line. Yeah, these two drivers really fighting it out for that final podium spot. Ryan Brown coming down the back straight now, coming into the parabolica. What a great race from Ryan. He's really showcased his skills from the beginning of the race. Overtook Ian Hall pretty much straight away, and then just drove away really. And a fantastic race from the UK driver, and yeah, well done from Ryan Brown as he comes across the line and takes his first win in the second round of the CRS 3Drap Ginetta Gt4 challenge. And he's going to do some donuts on the circuit. That's amazing. Corkery coming home.
Congratulations
P3.
to Corkery.
P2 is Ian Hall, and then you've got Chavez, Hamill, Ash Knight coming down now. He's actually just in front of Jeffries. Really great job. Rob Shorey, for some reason, dropped from P7 to P8. Looks as though he's carrying some damage at the front of his car. But he's going to come across the... Yeah, he's got some damage. Looks like he's going to come across the line P8, Haskell, who had a pretty rubbish weekend really in the X-Kart entry. Bit of a shame, but I'm sure we'll see more from him in the future. Litherland, yeah, pretty bad race at the end there, but ultimately a great job from Litherland. And it looks as though he's actually running out of fuel, and so he's trying to get across the line with the fuel that he's got left. Does that mean Richard is going to pass him for the line?
It's going to be really close. Looks like he's not going to quite make it.
He's just got it. And very, very impressive. Corkery did not get disqualified there, ladies and gentlemen. So, yeah. What a race, Ryan. What a fantastic race.
Yes, some pretty fantastic racing in that first actual feature race we've had in the Ginettas. I'm really impressed with the driving we've witnessed today. Great to see that all the drivers are very respectful in the racing. Really impressed to actually see Corkery finishing P3, seeded 8th in the championship for the first race. Done very well to stick it in P3, as well as Chavez as well, P4, but seeded 6th. Done very well to those guys.
Yeah, very well to all the drivers. So well done to Conor Galbraith for race 1, winner of race 1. Ian Hall for the qualifying in the wet qualifying that we didn't get to see, but we told you those guys' positions. Ryan Brown taking a 5-second lead at the end. Really great race, Ryan, and what we're looking forward to for next week with Zolder.
So really looking forward to Zolder for next week. A much smaller track compared to Monza. Lots of tight corners, lots of tight chicanes. Definitely a lot more suited to the Ginetta. Good little track for GT4 cars. The aero packages on the GT4 cars definitely suits it more, so there'll be a lot more overtaking and a lot more close action. So hopefully we might see a bit more rain perhaps as well. Belgium not known for the best weather, I'd say, so it'd be interesting to see if there's quite a bit of rain. Might mix things up a bit, see some of the slower drivers getting up higher in the field.
Absolutely, it's going to be a really great weekend next weekend at Zolder. In the meantime, guys, we'll just run through a couple of things that we've got coming for you. So next week, Saturday, we have the round 2, and that will be in Zolder. Tonight's round was round 1 at Monza, 2 races per round, with a race and then a qualifying and then another race. So that format will remain for the rest of the season. I think all that's left for me to do is thank you all for watching this evening, and thank you to Ryan for joining me in commentary. I know me and Ryan
my pleasure.
aren't 100% in terms of how we feel at the moment, in terms of being well. I think we both got colds, but we managed to survive that round, didn't we?
Yeah, both stuck through it. I think we'll be alright in the end.
Yeah. Well, guys, thank you very much. Thank you to Ryan for joining me, and yeah, we'll see you all next time for the CRS 3Drap Ginetta Gt4 CUP.